Okay, going through some of the features of the service. We will be coming back to these. I want to be going through them kind of more or less in the order that they're really important. But if you look under feature codes under the PBX section, you can see a whole bunch of features. You have the blacklisting section, so you can blacklist a number, which means that you type in *30 and then you type in the number you want you blacklisted. They can never call you again. Please don't do that in class. It sort of, doesn't make our activities as fun. If you don't want to type in that whole number of blacklisting them, you can do *32 and that blacklists the last caller based on caller ID. Or you can remove a number from blacklist. Hey, my phone numbers aren't coming through. I'm a new changed person. Please allow me to talk to you or whatever. Call forwarding, all kinds of forwarding things. One to forward all the time, only if I'm busy. Prompts, no answer, unavailable. And you can toggle the call forwarding features on and off as well. Call waiting is active by default, so you can take multiple calls. You can turn that on and off. And then there's some core features of most PBX systems. There's the general call pickup. If you're in the same group, that gets a little bit more confusing. But the person, Todd's phone is ringing and ringing and ringing. Chris just can't stand it. You can do a *8 and pick up in your call in your basic, and then dial his extension and get his pick up his phone type of feature. Channel spy. You can listen to other people's conversations. This is really meant for the call centers, that your call may be monitored. This is how you do it. The channel spy, and I have to read up on it again, and I think it randomly chooses an available channel and just tries to do it, saying, hey, listen to that conversation, but you can listen to that conversation. A directed call pickup, that means I'm going to specifically, that would be one example of Todd's, not just a general pickup, but a directed one. I want to pick up his things. There's transfers, attended transfers, which means, hey, John, there's a call for you. Can I put it through? Yes. There's the unattended or the blind transfer, which is, pound, and then the extension you want to transfer it to, and it just gets transferred. So if they're on the phone, they might get voicemail, they might not be there, whatever. So that's the two types of transfers, and we'll get into some of the stuff later on. A simulate incoming call, we will be using that for a lot of our work because we're not having all these outside trunks to really call in. To simulate our automated attendant working, to simulate our day of time, like I'm going to allow calls to happen in between 11:30 and 12, but if they're not, whatever, these are my office hours, we simulate incoming calls by using 4.7s. Dictation, do not disturb. It basically blocks your system from ringing or notifying or anything. The directory is just a pound, echo test, speak your extension number. Boy, you just can't figure out what your extension number is. You can pick it up and do *65 and it speaks your extension to you. If you're lonely and you want to know what time it was, you can do *60 and it reads the time to you. The time is 11:25 a.m. or whatever. Intercomming, we will be getting into this. This is something that either later today or else first thing next week is working with intercom prefix. If we enable intercomming, we just do *80, and then we can do intercomming for an extension. Allow, user intercom allow, and user intercom disallow, so we can say yes, the intercom works or not. 411 does work. If you dial 411 on these phones, it goes to the phone system's phone book, and then you could be looking at people's names or their extensions. So, that list that we have in Elastix, there's a phone book. It kind of spells out long way, but anyway. Recordings, we get into later on when we make recordings, and then voicemail. You also have speed dial functions. Set a user speed dial, and so you can do *75 to set the speed dials, and then the speed dial prefix is *0, and then if you have a speed dial 25 or 2 or whatever, then they'll ring whatever numbers that you have. We're not going to get into all these features, but just knowing that they're there. They're all enabled by default. Actually, not all of them. The intercom is disabled by default, and that is something we will be using. I'm going to come into here later. As long as we're here, let's enable it. and I apply the changes. So what I've done is enable the intercom feature. Now all of our phones are capable of doing intercoms, and to do that then, let me switch screens here. Nope, not this one. Right, on my server. So this is something that you do on your servers if you want this feature to happen. So what I do then is, since I'm using line 1, which is my server, and I'm going to intercom Jim. So I go line 1, I do *80, and I do his extension, 145, and I hit send. And are you busy? Are you connected to my server still? I think that's *80144. Now that should be intercom. So you're right, because I can't get through to you. So anyway, so this is an intercom. So again, if this is in somebody's office, you could say, hey, Randy, you have a visitor up in front. Please come to the front office or front desk. So that's how you do intercomming, is by doing *80 on the person's extension that you wanted to intercom. They don't have to pick up. They don't, they can just be wandering around their office or their room, and they can, be hearing the voice then. It is two ways. It's an intercom. So, say, hey, Randy, you there? I'll just do it again. Randy, you there? No. You don't have to. No, I can hear you. And so I can talk to you, and then I can say, hey, Randy, there's a package, so what should I do with it or something? Okay? Yes? We later on work with intercoms. We can force over that. I don't know if this default one. Randy, could you just call Bill? Use line 1 and dial 143. Randy's going to call you. No? Okay, so answer it and keep talking. Talk. Okay. I'm going to try the *80144. And it says it's busy, that the remote party is busy. What's that? It did not. It said the remote party is busy. But that's a good thing to know, too. So if I'm trying to intercom you and let you know that, somebody's here or whatever, I know that you're not available. Okay? A little out of order, but what's that? You can force that. You can force that. Yes. Yes, you can intercom me as well. And it does and that's part that auto answer by phone call type. The phone call type is an intercom, so it picks up automatically. When the person hangs up, they automatically hang up. So if this feature isn't working for you, check your phone function to make sure that you have the auto answer on call info to make that happen. Okay, moving along, related to that, under the PBX features, under PBX configuration, if we scroll on down, where did I miss it? What am I missing? Oh, right here. I'm looking right at it. Paging and intercom. Paging and intercom is another type of feature or function built in the system, but it's not for individual extensions. The feature for intercoming individual extensions is *80 and the person's extension. Say I want to notify the sales department that there's a customer waiting in the lobby. Maybe I want to ring all those phones and talk to them. And that's where you have paging and intercom. Paging and intercom are identical. The difference is paging is one way, intercom is two ways. So if it's intercom, you can talk back to me. If paging, I just notify you. So I'm going to work within here, and I'm going to add a paging group. And maybe I'll even I need an extension first. oh, I don't know. Let's see. I'll just use extension 301, and I'll call it sales. So that's the sales department. So this is a paging or intercom group. And now you want to choose who's going to be part of that paging or intercom group. And since I know Randy's works, I'm going to choose Randy. Okay, I'll choose Bill. And then I'll go over and I'll choose, let's see, Brian and maybe Michelle. I'll choose Michelle. So those are my salespeople all in different offices. This is the force if busy. So even if you're on the phone, I could override it. So it's going to override your phone, and it's going to force if busy. Duplex is just the intercom or not intercom. If it's simple, one way, that means I'm going to page you. If it's duplex, you can, answer back. And I'm just going to put paging right now, just so I can, simulate that. So I click Submit Changes, and I do have to apply it. And I can see that it's the sale. So now if I dial 301, your phones, so it's going to activate those phones and say, sales department, please come out to the lobby. There are customers waiting. Whose is it on? Michelle's? Okay. Okay. What's that? Nothing extra we do next week. We're just going to continue on with groups and pagers and that kind of stuff. So hopefully we got the basics of connecting down so we can sort of get into things. So Brian, yours didn't? Oh, they didn't save. Yeah, I'm holding down. Yeah, you're holding down control. Maybe when I clicked the last person, it didn't. Who do I have? Bill? You want to hold down the control key to select them all. Maybe I missed it. Okay. Now is yours on, Bill? No, because I only have it one way. I only have paging on. So if I want to make it into duplex, now this could get a little tricky because you're going to get feedback across the room. Hopefully you guys are far enough apart. Yeah, we're going to get too much feedback doing that. In an office environment, everybody has their own cube, office, or whatever. It's not going to feedback that same way. A lot of times, I'll just do the paging anyway, just because it can get a little hairy of trying to listen to everybody, especially if you have 4 or 5 people. Basically, they're all on speakerphone, and you know how well speakerphones work when you have a group conference, right? One person talks, and it's just really hard to hear things. So that's how you would do a paging group. If you want another one, make one 302, and you could, in fact, choose everybody. Choose the first person, shift, select, choose everybody, and you could put, page all, force if busy, and then submit the changes. So now when I dial 302, attention, class. So that should wake you up. So that's how you do it if you want to do it in intercom or paging for the entire building, for all the offices or whatever. And again, if a person's on the phone, their intercom would still come through. Now, this is a feature that's on the phone system, so any of you right now could pick up your phone and dial extension 302, and you'd be paging the entire class as well. Good question. Yeah, isn't that fun? What's that? Right, because we had force busy on, and so it's going to force it to come through anyway. So that's how you do it. If you want to change the extension, make it 303. I can change that, page all, submit the changes. Say too many people are found out the 302 code, put 303, and now, lets people know. Yes. Where are you seeing that? Add paging group? Oh, each PBX can have a single default paging group if specified extensions can be automatically added or removed from the group in the Extensions tab. Making the group the default will uncheck the option from the current default group is specified. Extensions can be automatically added or removed from the group. So if this is a default page group, as I added extensions, like this one, page all, this would be a perfect example. I want that to be my default page group. So as I add extensions to my phone system, they can automatically be added to this group. So if I go to extensions, submit the changes, and apply. I think there's a checkbox though when I create the extension. Default page group. I want to include it in the default page group, but I chose the default page group to be the page all, so I want to include it in that default page group. So you can only do one. So it's kind of like when you create a user, you can only put it into one group, maybe. You know, you can come back and put it in different groups, but when you're creating the people, you can put it in one default page group. So that's how you include it. So if I made extension, 155, I would go back and look at that paging group, and 155 would have been added automatically to it by doing that include in the default paging group. Does that make sense? Bill? Yes. Are you looking at your server? Or you look? This is my server. Okay. I messed up. I held down the control key to select everybody, but then I think when I clicked Michelle, I may not have the control key selected, and so you weren't in fact in the group the first time. No. Nothing to do with your. That's 4 different accounts. So what you do in accounts 2, 3, and no, nothing at all. Correct. What I do on my server is going to affect everybody's account 1. Yeah, it was just a pure coincidence that worked that way. No, that was my fault. I had selected them, but obviously they didn't select. So if I go down to paging and intercom, when I went to sales and I scrolled through, you weren't selected. I don't know why or how, but unfortunately, I wish this was a bigger screen. I wish you could resize this. You do have to hit the control key to select these and deselect them. Say, you know what, we fired Brian from sales. So we take him out of sales, and I submit the changes. And now when I do the sales paging, it's going to do that. I do want to talk about one more thing, and I know it's getting really late, and you guys are like really burned out. It's along the same lines, and really it should have been a precursor to paging. We got into paging because we looked at the feature codes, and so we started to do things backwards. A simpler way of doing things is just ring groups. So we're doing the fancy advanced paging intercom, which does the intercom paging feature, but even more simplistic is just a ring group. And so here's a ring group for like sales. Again, I'll just use sales as an example. And then you put in your extensions. Now, I wish it was consistent. It's not consistent, unfortunately. But here, you can resize the window, which is nice, but you type the names in. So 101, enter, no, not enter, sorry. Yeah, I want to hit destination. Destination is the bottom. I want to choose the names. I can type them in. I can't type them in right now. Or you can do the quick pick, which is typical, which is nice because it gives you the name of the person you're working with. So if I want, get rid of 101. If I want, again, I'm just choosing Michelle, and I want Wes, and I want, let's see, Dan, all in there. So it types them in there for you. And again, I'm not sure why I'm not typing in. But you can do it either way. Just type them in or do the quick pick. Announcement, do you want a message to be said first before you actually call that? No, we're going to use all these defaults. And then finally, if there's no answer, you do have to choose a destination. Where is this going to go if there's no answer? It's very interesting, the options you get for, we're going to get to this later on with automated attendant, of where you can put calls. If you do the drop down, you can go to extensions. So I can go to a specific extension. So if nobody answers from that group, I want to go to me, extension 100. So I could go to supervisor, roll over to another, call center or whatever. I can do an IVR, which is your automated attendant, interactive voice response system, something or another. I can go to the phone book directory. So, if nobody answers, then it says, please figure out who you want to call. Kind of weird. Terminate the call. I love these options. Under terminate the call, you can just hang up. So nobody calls, you just hang up. Or you can give it a message saying that all lines are busy, it's congested. Or you just give a busy tone, busy signal. Or you can play this tone, put the caller on hold forever. I think I've gotten that one before. And you don't get notified on your end, and they don't get notified on their end. They just get the hold music forever. Or, you know what, all those creative ringtones that you can use? If you don't want to just put them on hold, you just let them play continually the ringtones until they hang up. So, I don't know. I love these. They're just awesome. So, so put the caller on hold forever. So anyways, so I'm going to submit the changes, and that's what, so if I call that, now this is different than paging. This will ring their phones. So if I dial, 600, those phones, the people I selected, call, get rung, and then whoever answers first, so Dan answered, the rest of the phones stop ringing. Now, if we had the whole call log on thing on, then everybody else would get a missed call, and then you're wondering, was it really missed? Well, it really wasn't missed because Dan got it, and so that's why we don't have the call logs on there. So that's how that works. If you're looking at the ring strategies, I'm still on, sorry. If you look at the ring strategies, it says ring all, and that's the most common ones. I want to ring the sales department. I want to watch, ring whatever, accounting, who's going to answer. Or you have different options here. One is a hunt group, which it can be typical like in customer service. So it rings one phone. I'm just going to make this only 5 seconds instead of 60 seconds. Am I making a new extension? Oh, sorry. Thank you. Make sure you click on the one you want to edit and do a hunt group, and we'll only change it to 5 seconds instead of 20 seconds each one. And now when I apply, so don't answer this. So whose is it ringing? Okay, yours? It's not ringing yours. Whose is it ringing? You're lying to me. Michelle, now yours is. And then it should go to, it's already been there once. And now it went through the whole hunt group thing. And so now I'm on hold. Forever. So, let's see here. What you can do is put it back into itself, though. So here's ring group 600. It goes to sales. It does a hunt. So it's going to rotate through 122, 114, 134. It should do it in that order. And then it says, what if there's no answer? We'll then go to ring group sales, and it brings it back around to itself. So you can loop it back into itself as well. So it just keeps going around the hunt group, that way as well. Not with this. There'll be other ways of doing that. There's a hunt group. There's also the memory hunt. The memory hunt is an interesting one. It rings the first one if there's no answer. It rings the first and second one if there's no answer. Then it rings the first, second, and third. So it's going to keep on adding more phones to ring, so instead of just rotating around. So there's lots of features and things that you can do in there. Yeah. What else do I want to show? I guess that's it for that. So anyway, that's all we're going to do for today. Obviously, there's a lot. Hopefully, it's clear as far as what servers are, what clients are, what accounts are, who's logging into where. So we're going to shut everything down and sort of come back next week. I'm going to do a quick review in the beginning of next week on paging and intercomming and groups. And then I'm going to be having you do it within your groups. So you'll be creating a ring group, and so that's going to ring a couple of your phones on your server. You're going to create a paging group, and so you can page somebody in your group off of your server. By the way, my server is always available. Please don't make any changes to it, but if you want to call through it or practice through it, you certainly can. How does that work again? Take a look at the server and modify things that way. Do not make changes to my server. But you can use my, because line 1 is an active line. So if you want to figure out, try that *80 extension thing again, go ahead and do that. If you want to do the ring groups of like 500 or 300 or whatever. Oh, you hung up too fast before I saw who it was. How you call a ring group? It's the extension. So sales is 600. And I can do the same thing here again. I can add a ring group. And I can actually call it ring all. So, just goes the whole list, 111. I want to know why can't I hit enter? Something's not right. Okay, let's try this again. My enter is not working right. You should be able to type in yours, and yeah, that's not a really difficult thing to do. So it's 112, 113, 114, 121, and I choose all those people, and then that is the extension. That's what you dial, is the 601. If I dial 601, it'll ring all those phones.
Hello.
Oh, you're quick. Questions on ring groups, the concepts of ring groups. Hi, Sean. This comes important later on, especially when we have the interactive voice response system or the automated attendant. So you can hit 1 for sales, so it rings the sales department. Press 2 for customer service, so it rings the customer service department. If, say that, customer service doesn't answer, maybe you want to ring back over to the sales department. Maybe they can, help out or whatever. Or it can go to a supervisor. That's where you get all the creative. Is it going to a group? Is it going to a person, to a manager? Does it all ring back? How is it going to get formatted? So you have to understand that. And obviously, paging and intercom is a basic function. What are you going to do and how are you going to page people or intercom people? And there's a feature and function there. I appreciate your patience today and your understanding and your willingness to continue to working through this stuff. That was great. Please keep your notes. Please keep your diagrams. Keep refreshing your mind on how this works. Understanding your client server situation. Have a good week.